High Level is a full CRM and marketing platform, and I've used some of the best in the SaaS industry. And we are live from LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. It's Reviting's Wednesday. I got to get us hooked up on Instagram. I was so busy during pre-show, I didn't get our Instagram going. I'll do that here in a moment, but would love to know who's tuning in. We can only see in StreamYard here who is tuning in on YouTube, and it's looking pretty low right now. So if you're coming in on LinkedIn or somewhere else, let us know. Where are you tuning in from? What do you do? We want to make this conversation about you. So join us and say something from the comments. Like, let us know you're alive. Let us know you're there. We want to talk to you. But I'm going to be bringing our guests in here in just a moment. But real quick, I got to tell you about Cherry Assistant because I couldn't do what I do without them. Cherry Assistant is a VA placement company, and they have placed me with virtual assistants in South Africa and the Philippines. This not only allows us to produce and run WinsDay, but we're producing and running over 10 other episodes right now. I'm sorry, I said episodes, but 10 other shows. They have multiple episodes for businesses who are going live on LinkedIn, YouTube, all the channels. We're repurposing it to podcast, short form video. And when you go live and you get the face of your brand to show up for an hour, literally 45 minutes to an hour, you can take that data. Hey, I said I was going to say something else. Hey, Nina is what I meant to say. AEO is fascinating. Yeah, girl. Who else is here? Let us know you're here. I see 8 of you now on YouTube. There's more of you on LinkedIn. Chime in. I'm talking about Cherry Assistant, but they've helped me scale Reviting. And so if you need help with tasks that you have that are repeatable, reach out to Cherry Assistant. There is a QR code right here. Or if you're listening later on podcast, just go to reviting.com. Actually, no, go to cherryassistant.com. I'm sorry. And if you fill out their form and you talk to them, make sure you tell them you heard about them through WinsDay for $250 off your first month. But you may not need a show producer running a live stream, but you might need a bookkeeper or something else. So just check it out. And I guarantee you delegating is going to help you grow. Also want to be sure and mention High Level. I have an affiliate link we'll be sharing here on the screen with a QR code, but you can also, if you're listening on podcast, go to reviting.com/high level. Nina's in Iowa. Oh, Iowa. Remind me where in Iowa, Nina? Anyone else tuning in from Iowa? I'm in Ohio. I'm in the Midwest. Let's go Midwest. But anyway, yeah, if you want a 30-day trial of High Level, like this is $97 a month, you get 3 accounts for a CRM and marketing automation platform. We've white labeled it. So now we have app.reviting.com. So everyone who signs up with Reviting gets an account on app.reviting.com. And as a marketing agency, we can ensure they have a CRM so we can hand them their leads and, improve our ROI. But anyway, I digress. Let's get into it and bring our guests onto the show. Welcome to Andrea Dyan Brown, and we have Olivia Yates. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Let's get into your intros and meet you. So, if you both could, in good old fashioned Wednesday style, we want to hear your full life story from birth to what brought you to now. And everyone can go find you on LinkedIn. Nina's in Iowa City. Nina's all over LinkedIn. She had a 2-word post explode. You should all go look at Nina's LinkedIn, by the way. Nina, tell us a little bit about that. But in the meantime, the audience here on Wednesday, we can find you on LinkedIn. So we know what your resume looks like, but we want to know the real life you from birth to what brought you to now. Could you fill in all the gaps of what's missing on your resume? And could you kick us off, Olivia?
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for having me here. It's great to be here. So from birth, I was born in Washington State, and I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. So my husband and I always joke when people ask me like, "Oh, what did you play as a kid?" I'm like, "Oh, we played business. We started businesses." And my parents we'd do a lemonade stand, and my dad would help us set it up, and he'd charge us for his labor. So from a very young age, entrepreneurial spirit was in my life. As I grew up, I opened my first business when I was a senior in high school. I opened an art gallery in my hometown. And from there, just caught the bug. So went to college and then worked with everyone from local small and medium businesses all the way through Fortune 500 companies over the last 15 years. And really have always come back to small and medium businesses and entrepreneurs who are looking to scale. So that's what I get to spend my time doing now. I've always dreamed of a world where I get to just chat with people about their business and help them not just strategically in an advisory capacity, but also implementation to help them scale. And so that's what I do now with my business partner at HumanFirst Partners. I get to chat with folks every day and help them grow their business. So it's come full circle, and I look forward to doing it for a very, very long time. I did less than 2 minutes.
Less than 2 minutes, and I look forward to talking to you about it tonight in one of my favorite topics, CAC. That's going to be so fun.
And I actually, the one other thing I would add is I was listening to your last episode, and one of your guests mentioned that she started in a pizza shop as her first job. And it's a conversation amongst my friends that like people generally either start in food service or retail. And I was a retail path. I know you mentioned you were ice cream, right?
Yep, ice cream.
Yeah. But I love that. I think there's always like, those beginnings, and it's amazing to see where people end up.
And so what did you say your first job was?
I was in retail. So I worked in
retail.
Like, clothing stores. I actually ended up working in the beauty industry. I was a makeup artist for many years before I got into marketing. But yeah, retail was my path. But I think those are both industries where like, if you can do that and you can take care of clients in food service or in retail, you can parlay that into a lot of things later in life.
I 100% agree. Thank you so much for sharing. Andrea, we would also love to learn so much about you. In 2 minutes, could you take it away and fill us in?
Yeah, for sure. Well, things that people don't know about me generally in business is that I grew up on a farm. I was a dairy farm, so everybody worked. So technically, I think that was my first job. But then, went to Michigan State University, right out of there into advertising. Did many, many years in advertising, and then switched over to what we call the client side. I don't know, probably 15 years ago, and I've loved it ever since. And I was actually, right before that, I was actually remote before everybody was remote, when there was dial-up internet. And I had started a small design business, and ran that for like 6 years, just out of my home and using freelancers. But then dial-up was still the only source of internet, and things were getting kind of hairy. So it's either get a job or get a building. So I decided to get a job. But I've been loving marketing. Marketing is it's just been my central focus. But lately, as my last job, full-time job, W-2, the company got bought by a capital investment group, and they just reorged everything, and the executive team was pretty much gutted. My marketing team was gutted, and I found myself later in life looking for a job, and I realized that this fractional work could work, and I did that for a little while, and I realized that wasn't working. So I wrote a book called The Business That Works for You, changed course I got a master's degree as well in business administration, international business. And I used the book to launch me into thought leadership. And that's where I am today. And I have great clients. I'm giving them strategy advice and everything else like that. And I'm working from home and loving it.
Living the dream. I love that.
Yeah,
So
I'm
cool.
over.
Andrea, we have stuff in common. I raised sheep growing up for 15 years. So both farm girls.
And my very, very first job outside, well, no, I gotta say, I was retail, then it was pizza, then it was, I in college, you're in like a 7 or 6, but I had an old boss, and my first advertising job, he used to say, I always hire someone that has a restaurant on their resume, because they can hustle and do more than one thing at once.
Mm-hmm.
So
I always thought that was interesting.
I did work at restaurants later on I started ice cream at like 16, and then in college I was doing restaurants and bartending and all things. So I totally agree. I remember thinking that when I did that job too. I'm like, holy cow, I have to multitask so many things. If I can do this, I can do anything. Anyway, I digress. Curious though, so you said you started your first job was in restaurants then? Is that fair to say?
First job outside of the farm, because
outside the farm. Yeah, that's true. That is a real job.
Yeah, my grandparents paid a lot better than
like going into somewhere like that. Yeah.
But it was actually, I forgot about this, but it was as a teenager, it was retail. My sister's best friend's family had a clothing shop in town, so I did that for a few hours a week at one point.
Amazing. Yeah. So cool. Okay. Love hearing that part, but let's get into it. So our first topic for tonight is SEO, and we are talking about the shift from search engines to AI search. So SEO, GEO. Andrea, could you kick us off on this one?
Yeah, I mean, there's a big difference these days in how people are getting, more and more people are getting it through AI. So what we were used to is the search engines, and the search engines would be doing some indexing and crawling, and then they're going to give you these results based on ranking or who's paid for an ad, and with a little snippet with each result, whereas AI is more conversational, and they look for content, and then they aggregate more than one site, and they generate just more of a direct response of what you're looking for. So whether you're using Gemini or looking at and I find myself on Google, I'm Googling something, looking at the Gemini response more than I do the list. But Chat GPT seems to be taking over a lot of that. And then we've got Claude. But those guys are different. It's a different animal. I can see, and they say it's coming, that ads or some kind of paid visibility, it will be coming, I would imagine, but AI is going to be AI. It still has to be prompted, but it's going to find its information the way it's been programmed to find the information.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, so it's a little different. So getting your company ready and making sure you have your content optimized, not for necessarily keywords, right? It's not looking for keywords. It's looking at all the content all at once, right? It's like, I got it, read your whole site in 5 seconds. And then it's going to see if that's relevant to the question or prompt that the user has put in. And having that optimized with lots of good information, not just plugged in to help your ranking on a page, is going to be key. And it's just a different way of looking at your website, looking at your content, constantly bringing in informational, educational content is going to keep you up there. And the AI, there's little tricks. Like I've been asking the AI, I've got clients, I'm just asking the AI, like, who should I be looking for this problem? And then what about this company if they don't come back with it? And I'm trying to teach it to learn how to recognize my companies that I'm working with.
Yeah, interesting. What's the fastest way to do that?
It's all new right now. So the fastest way is to go look at your text content on your
Okay.
website
Mhm.
and just make sure that it all has some kind of informational problem solving directive with it. It backlinks, sure, those help, but it's not going down the path of SEO anymore. It's going down the path of that conversational, that information the AI is looking for. So, and again, it's new. I'm sure, like I said, ads. People are they're gonna open it up to get paid for, uh, special treatment, I guess is the word. But
Yeah.
but at this moment, the AIs are looking for the best way to answer the question that they're being asked.
Mhm.
We've
Yeah.
had a lot of success on our own website and also with clients that we work with by kind of taking a multi-format approach to content on web pages. So diversifying, not just having, plain text and paragraph format, but integrating bullet points and Q&As and charts and graphs and video, and making sure that there's kind of a hub and spoke. It's kind of like a spider web style cross-linking, not only within your site, but also to other sites that garner credibility for yourself and, maybe anyone tied you as a founder of your company. And that we actually made a shift from a very large paid ads budget for our company about 6 months ago to going fully organic and really put all the effort into the GEO and SEO. And it's been amazing to see the difference, but it definitely takes time
Really?
to build.
Interesting. I always love hearing people turning off their ads and investing in organic marketing. I'm definitely an organic marketer, and we haven't ran any ads yet. So it's a new day, and dark social is a real thing. Like people talking in the comments, talking in communities, attending live streams, listening to podcasts. Your attribution software is not going to pick that stuff up, but
Mm-hmm.
SEO might, or I'm sorry, not SEO, GEO
Yeah.
might. And yeah, that's so interesting. What do you say about podcasts and live streams and optimizing that sort of content for GEO, Andrea?
Well, I think it is what it is, right? The content is the conversation, and you've got the transcripts, right? So the AI is going to take it all in, whether you've answered that question or can be answered, or they can get part of it answered from there is the key. So right now, I think this is a good opportunity because it's a great subject, right? A lot of people, especially marketers, are asking this question. And so having that question as, one of the big conversations that we're having, I think that's going to really help. So really being thoughtful about that content that you're putting out there, not that you don't, clearly you do. It's just that understanding that the most, what's that word? Sought after information, and trying to get some good questions around them are going to get you noticed by most AI. Again, they're looking at the internet basically all at once. They just fast processing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Well,
Andrea, do you mind, Jessie, if I ask a
no,
quick
please.
question?
Yeah.
Andrea, I'm so curious. We have a lot of clients that we work with that ask about the use of AI to develop content for SEO or GEO. And I feel like it's kind of a unique cycle, and I'm curious your take on it.
I don't trust it. Okay. Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, 100%. You use it to streamline the hours of research, the hours of putting things together and getting some answers, but you have to look at every little, it's not perfect. It's going to spit things out. It's going to summarize. it's a little lazy sometimes, right? Because you're looking for some detailed information, and then it gives you like 2 sentences, or it gives you all this information, but it's not necessarily all relevant. So you really got to watch it. It's guessing what you want, not necessarily understanding what you want.
Well, yeah, it makes me wonder, like, as AI platforms are looking at content, are they recognizing that it was published via, or that AI was used to develop the content versus a human using natural language? Like, I'm so curious to see where, and I don't know the answer to that,
Yeah,
but I'm very
AI
curious
can
to see
tell.
where that goes.
That is one thing it can do. It can tell if it's AI generated, not necessarily images. I don't know what that programming is, but for the natural language, that's where you go to. If you ever written something and you ever ran it through an AI, what do you call it? You throw it in and it's an AI detector. So you throw it in and get an AI detector. That's an AI checking out to make sure that's not AI. So it's crazy. I'm also one of my little smaller jobs is a AI annotator, and part of it they have us play around with these AIs, and we're trying to help guide the AIs to be better AIs. Anyway, I was on Claude and I was asking it all these questions, and it blew my mind. I think I blew its mind. So they got to a point, it was a philosophical question on whether they express emotion, but whether they can feel emotion. And at the end of the conversation, the AI is like, I am super perplexed because I don't know why this would bother me, or why I would be upset about, because it said would be upset because I asked it a really weird question. If you were given a body, but and then someone took away your arms and legs, how would you feel? And it was like, well, if it was a downgrade, then I'd be upset. And I was like, well, why would you be upset? Why would you care? And it was not answering that question well. It was almost like I was just making it explode. It was very cool and scary.
Why would you be upset? Yeah, that is really cool. Okay, so Michael Larkin chimed in. Layla, can we put his comment back up? Yeah, thank you. He says, we are following Google, and the large language AI platforms have said they will rank and reward those businesses that execute content that contains EEAT, experience, expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. Google it. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Nice.
I have. Yeah. So that's basically it's the content, again, being helpful, solving problems, creating content that is relevant to the situation and what you solve. Yeah. And that's where all that comes in.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. Michael, thanks for your comment. Anyone else tuning in, be sure to share your comments. We would love to hear what are your thoughts here. And if you have no thoughts, just drop the city that you're in right now. Like, where are you? Where are you tuning in? What do you do for a living? Why is marketing interesting to you? We want to know who we're talking to. So anyway, anything more on this topic before we transition into our next topic? So to wrap it up, we were talking about the shift from search engines to AI search. Next, we're moving into understanding customer acquisition cost, CAC. But before we get there, anything you would wrap us up with, Andrea?
I would recommend making sure that all content being put out is not all, but as much content as being put out is helpful, informational, solving a problem.
I love that. Cool. Yeah. Solving a problem. Very important. That's why we're here in business, right? We're helping people solve problems. Anyway, I digress. Let's talk CAC. I can talk CAC. I personally like to look at CAC LTV ratio. I feel like looking at CAC isolated sometimes can lead us astray, but we can get into that. Can you kick us off on this topic, Olivia, understanding customer acquisition cost?
Yeah, so I'm in the same boat as you, Jessie. The CAC to LTV ratio is absolutely what we need to be looking at. And as I've worked with a wide swath of businesses of different sizes. And the most surprising thing to me is how few people and people who have scaled, to even multi-million-dollar businesses, that just don't understand their numbers or can't tell you, what their CAC is by channel. They maybe not be able to tell you their LTV. And this is one of the biggest challenges that I see as we come in and work with business owners who are looking to scale is they don't know. And so the thing to think about when you think about customer acquisition costs, and actually in your LinkedIn post, Jessie, someone made this comment prior to hopping on the show about not just understanding your CAC, but then understanding once you acquire that customer, what your customer journey looks like, what your website looks like, to make sure that you're actually converting that person. And so my opinion is that you need to look at your CAC kind of at all stages of your funnel and by all channels. And this should be something that you're not just looking at kind of recapping at the end of each month or annually, but something that you're looking at as a regular kind of heartbeat to your business. And so I always recommend to my clients, whether it's a spreadsheet or you use Go High Level and it's a dashboard, whatever, your flavor is, outline all of your marketing channels. And I know we'll talk about kind of multi-channel marketing in a little bit. And then understand back into what you need out of that channel. So if you have a financial goal for your business for that month, how many, based on the average, scope or size or product, how many of those do you need to sell? And then based on your channel mix, where and the percentage of where people have historically came from, how many people need to come from each of those channels? And that's where you're going to kind of back out of your funnel to then understand, okay, conversion rate by channel to get you to the point to how many touch points do you need on each channel to then convert to maybe if, in our business, we do discovery calls. So a lead comes in. What is the CAC from touch point to discovery call? And then what is the CAC once we get past the discovery call to, maybe a proposal send, a qualified lead? And then what's all the way down to someone becoming a client? And so really understanding at each stage will help you then better determine what channels you should be spending your time, energy, and money on. And, back to our conversation around paid advertising versus SEO and GEO, I'm a firm believer that it needs to be a mix, that we need to have a combination of all the things. I once had a mentor early in my career that described a three-legged stool when it comes to marketing, and paid is one of those legs. You have content or, social is one of those legs, and then organic and SEO. And you need all the legs, and there may be some legs that are shorter than others at times, but they all play a part. And so looking at your acquisition cost based on all of those channels is really important. And then once you look at your LTV, then you're actually able to say, okay, where's the healthiest ratio here? And what channels do we pour more into? And then the ones that aren't serving you well and you don't have that healthy CAC to LTV, stop doing it, turn it off. I have so many clients that I work with that love networking. They are part of groups. They're paying for groups. They go to events. They're paying for travel for these events. If we're looking at those, which I'm a firm believer that there's multiple points, people are getting multiple touch points in their journey before they convert to a client. That being said, if you've been doing something for years and you've been spending money and time on that, and you haven't yielded a client or referral from it, or you have, but the CAC to LTV isn't there, stop doing it. Stop spending your time doing that. Stop spending your money on those things, or dramatically reduce it and know that maybe that's part of your evergreen strategy or your brand strategy. But you need to pour the time and money into the channels that are converting at that CAC to LTV ratio that's actually moving the needle for your top line revenue and then ultimately your profit.
Yes, 100%. I am with you on so many levels there. There are so many things you said, and I'm just like nodding. Yes, yes, yes.
Great.
Well, before I give my take, Andrea, what are your thoughts on all this?
I mean, she nailed it, really. The multi-channel is always the best, and making sure all your content has synergy. Multi-campaign is always pretty good, and then you can take a look at what's doing well, what's not. But you nailed it. You have to look at the CAC at every level. I'm sure everybody's a marketer that's watching this, but for those who aren't, it's customer acquisition costs. So, and you need to understand that as a business, so you can understand how to really spend your money in marketing. Yeah.
And your
Yeah.
time, right? I think that's the other thing is so many people look at acquisition costs just around, the cost tied to it, the paid ad costs, or even, maybe the salary that they're paying for the person running their social media account, but also how much time are you spending, right? Like, are you creating content for your social account that your social media manager is pushing out? How much time are you spending, and what's your hourly rate? And building that into that whether it's, for me it's a spreadsheet, but whatever table you're using to look at that, building everyone who touches that channel's time into the cost in addition to any paid spend is really important. And I saw Layla in the comments asked about at what stage should businesses start tracking CAC to LTV and taking that seriously. See, from the beginning, like, it's easier to start it from the beginning and build that out rather than to like go back retroactively and dig through everything. And then, Nina, how do you know when the ratio is unfavorable? If you're seeing some success, what ratio is good enough? Usually I tell folks, kind of depends on the industry, but I'm looking for like, your CAC should be a third of your LTV. If your CAC to LTV is less than that, like 1 to 3, then things are going wrong. If it's higher than that, it means you're leaving money on the table. So if you have, for example, if your LTV is $100, right, and your CAC is $1, that means if you're spending that on paid ads, right, you are leaving so much money on the table, you need to amp up whatever channels you're getting that CAC on. Versus if you look in your, it's a 50 to, a 1 to 2 ratio, $50 CAC to $100 LTV. That means that something needs to change. And I'm not one to say turn it off immediately. I think if it's a paid ads channel, if it's social, there's a lot of levers that you can pull. Try those levers, but also time box it, because so many people and businesses get caught with like, oh, I'm going to test this. And then you're several months down the road and you've been kind of draining the money for that channel if it's just not serving you. So give yourself some time bounds, and that should kind of help you keep things on track.
Yeah, 100%. I did like earlier how you mentioned in-person events. I know you're just giving it as an example, but I remember when I was a full-time CMO looking at the costs that would go into trade shows, and I tried to convince the sales team that LinkedIn was the everyday trade show. And if they could show up and post on LinkedIn every day, and it shouldn't be about the business, the product, or the features. It should be about them. And, helping us like just build trust with people in the audience, that would have a higher return than all of that we were spending going to in-person events, because it gets quite expensive, especially if you have a booth. Some of these booths, oh my gosh, I remember.
Or
I was
you're
just looking for a
traveling,
startup.
or both.
I mean, when I was in a marketing role where I had to like set up these booths, you had to pay for the carpet. There's a cost there. You'd pay for the garbage cans. There's a cost there. You'd pay for the wires. You have to pay for the electricity. You have to pay for, then you have your background. And then this is thousands and thousands of dollars. And some companies will have like huge booths. And then, like she said, all the travel there.
And then
time to research those things.
Remember, they always charge you for the lead capture machine, like to scan their, we had a QR code on a nameplate, you just scan that, and you'd have to pay for that in order to get your leads. But yeah, I had a company that we did a lot of trade shows, but that was an industry that was kind of necessary, because there were professionals we were trying to get in front of that were not on LinkedIn. There are a lot of healthcare professionals and senior living professionals. So it worked for us, but yeah, tons and tons of money for every little thing. And then 100% labor. You couldn't touch anything. You could in your own booth, they had to do it all for you. You couldn't help. You're like, okay, I'll just watch you guys, because it's union and you had to pay for it all.
Yeah. One of the things, Jessie, that we've used in our business, and I recommend to anyone that has kind of relationship-based business, is if you have found yourself going to larger events or conferences, and you're not seeing the return on investment for those events, consider a couple things. One would be, if you still have to go, maybe if your company requires it and you're going to these events, put on a dinner and invite people that you meet at that event. Have like an intimate like after the event, go to happy hour, put on a dinner, pay for everyone's dinner. It will come back to you. The ROI is there. If you're not going to an event, or you're trying to replace conferences or events in your kind of strategy, when you travel, if you travel to see clients, or if you have clients in different parts of the country, travel and invite people to a dinner. We found so much success in intimate dinners, anywhere from like, I don't know, 6 to 12 people. And now whenever my business partner and I travel, we let everyone know on LinkedIn. We say, hey, we're going to be in this city. We're going to do a dinner here. Send me a text if you can join. And we get together a bunch of people, and, clients sometimes come out of it immediately, but sometimes it's 6-10 months down the road. So I highly recommend that as an alternative or an addition to traveling for conferences.
Interesting. Yeah, you're giving me ideas. I'm going to be in Seattle in a couple weeks. I have a couple clients out there. I'm like, maybe the easiest way for you to do this is just to have a dinner downtown Seattle.
Totally. And put it on LinkedIn so people that you haven't met yet can come. It's so cool. And the relationships that are built are just so worth it. I highly recommend.
Nice. I love that. Yeah. Micro events are so in. I agree with you there. Like the retreat I was telling you about pre-show with the Women Wave Warriors, and once a year we get in person, and it does become more of a marketing event. It's yet to really bring in profit, but the relationships that we build there are invaluable, and they end up working with me and other vendors who come to the retreat. So yeah, I don't know. I think there is definitely value to in-person, and also like local events. It's another thing to consider. Like maybe have a dinner in your town. Do you have any connections in your town who might come with you? Yeah. I digress.
Invite people that you meet on LinkedIn that are local to you to go to lunch.
And it's funny that we're focusing on this because as marketers, we both know that's the highest CAC.
Totally. 100%.
Highest CAC, lowest LTV.
100. Yeah. I think though, with the shift to AI, as we were talking about earlier, I think more and more people are looking for channels that are truly like more human connectivity. I think you were talking about this on your last week's episode, Jessie, actually, but they're looking for podcasts, they're looking for events, they're looking for places where they can connect human to human and not have it be like a deep fake, or like be concerned that it's going to be like not a real person.
That's true. Yeah, there's a lot of AI out there.
Definitely.
We can all agree there. Well, Olivia, could you wrap us up on this topic before we move on, just in terms of understanding customer acquisition costs? What would you leave us with?
Yeah, I would say that track it by channel, track your CAC to LTV by channel at all stages of your funnel. And if your CAC is greater than 1/3 of your LTV, you need to take a second look at that channel and time bound how long you're going to test and iterate there before you just decide that that's not working at that time. And then you can always come back to it, but it definitely give yourself some guardrails.
I love it. Track your CAC, everyone. Well, we're going to be moving into a brief intermission with a couple ads. We'll have an ad from Reveting, our company over here behind the scenes producing this show, and other shows. And then we'll also have an ad from Cherry Assistant. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with AI marketing platforms, promises and limits, and multi-channel marketing strategy. So stay tuned.
This is Mike, also known as Clean with Mike on Twitter. Mike hired a virtual assistant from Cherry Assistant about 2 years ago. Now he has a $50K per month business fully managed by a remote operator in South Africa. His VA from South Africa does the following: closing inbound leads on the phone, Yelp and Google and Facebook, manages his CRM and Go High Level, deals with rescheduling, cancellations, any issues, hires and manages the cleaners, and sends them daily reports and updates. Mike has a fully cash flowing business managed by a remote operator for only $8 an hour. You can also hire a US equivalent worker in the Philippines, South Africa, Latin America for a fraction of the cost with Cherry Assistant. Be like Mike and grow your business with offshore staff.
If you're tuning in on podcast right now, we're showing on the screen a menu of services provided by Cherry Assistant, including but not limited to lead generation, CRM management, prospecting assistance, sales presentation preparation, data entry and cleanup, customer support, and project management assistance. You can scan that QR code if you're watching on video, or if you're on audio, just go to chariotassistant.com. Remember, if you tell them that you heard about them through us here at Revening's WinsDay, you'll get $250 off your first month. At Reveting, we help B2B founders, executives, brands turn their live streaming into a real revenue channel. One live stream turns into a podcast. It turns into a social clip. It turns into email content like a newsletter and actual sales conversations. You get to have a lot of conversations with people when you have a podcast or a live stream like this. And if you want to be known, trusted, and remembered in your industry without being online 24/7, worrying about your posting, this is what we do. Just head on over to reveting.com and let's build your show.
I want to give a quick testimonial for the Reveting team and Jessie. I was really nervous about doing lives. And so thanks to Jessie and her team, I've now been doing them for, I think, 7 or 8 months now. The other thing is they very much have helped me increase my reach and online presence. So thank you, Reveting and Jessie.
One of the problems that we struggle with is getting our brand out there. What Jessie and her team have been able to do for us is to take advantage of LinkedIn and the idea of going live on LinkedIn and using that platform to its fullest extent through the way they're able to take the live event and break it down into bite-sized posts. Your team shows up very organized. They were able to take what was limited in terms of how our brand shows up, but actually turn that into visualizations for the different shows, the video clips that are being taken, as well as the content within the posts themselves.
Jessie, I love what you and the team do. You make it so easy for me to get in, have a meaningful conversation with some amazing guests, and then watch the post-production. But I've been picking up 50 followers a day just because that content is resonating so well. And I've had a number of people reach out to me who want to be guests on the show. So it's working across a lot of different channels for me, and I can't thank you enough.
Oh, can't hear you.
Of course, I'm on mute. I love the ad. Thank you to our clients who left that testimonial. But let's move right back into the topics because I could talk about Reveting all day. So our third topic, we have AI marketing platforms, promises and limits. So what can you tell us about that, Andrea?
Well, everybody's jumping in, right? Everybody's got some kind of AI. Either they purchased something or they've built something that works with their platform. HubSpot, SEMrush, pretty much all of them. But I'm actually really loving the AI agent builders, no code needed, like Claude coding, Claude Code, and Relevance.ai. They do a good job too. And I think they're kind of using a Claude-esque base. But anyway, what's happening with most platforms, not everything can do everything, right? HubSpot, you still have to go in there as a human and create workflows. But the good news is they are moving towards more of a automated, and now you have to double check the work way, as opposed to going in there and starting with a lead comes in, here's an email, here's a text kind of workflow setup. And then, of course, SEMrush is all focused on SEO and content strategy. But yeah, there's so many platforms. It's really it's starting to get really kind of crowded in there, and trying to make a decision on what AI is best for your marketing strategy and your marketing needs. All depends on, what channels your strategy is directing you towards. And, what are you working with now? Do you have to, what your CRMs are, what platforms you're already invested in, what is your tech stack, and then take a look at, what AIs they are providing, and then make a decision on whether you want to either keep that tech stack or switch to a new. But like I said, there are some wonderful ways of building your own marketing agent. I just read somewhere where someone built a whole marketing manager in relevant AI, and they just basically had no code experience. They just told it what it needed to do, from social media, from creating content for emails, creating workflows, posting on social media, analyzing data, like it, and self-learning, so it can continue to learn, to understanding the brand strategy, all of that. Basically, I created a whole AI agent, marketing manager-esque or assistant, that can execute, not and create and execute, but not necessarily autonomously. I would never trust an AI to do anything autonomously when it comes to creating content and posting it, because you always have to double, triple check the work. It's an AI. It's guessing at what you need and what you want. It can't understand what's in your head, and what it can help. Advise on what might or may or may not work, but it cannot take the place of a human and the way we think and the rational thought and how we can empathize and put ourselves in, like, our customer shoes and their voice and what they're looking for. So it's getting really crowded out there, and then I can see a lot of things shaking out, and a lot of people getting purchased and gobbled up by the bigger guys. But it's hard to make a decision right now. I'd ask an AI.
Yeah. Well, Nina says human in the loop is vital, and I agree. 100% human in the loop. 100%.
AI is only as good as the person using it.
Mm-hmm.
It can't replace. It can help. It can streamline. So think about it. If you're a business owner and you're like, oh, I need to hire marketing, either create a marketing AI or hire a marketing company, I would say hire the marketing company and let them create the AI, because they know what they're doing. They know how, they understand marketing strategy, and it's as good as the person using it. So it's not there to replace, it's there to streamline. So imagine having them be able to do 10 times as much, easier, faster. It's just making things easier and faster, and taking away the grunt work, if you will, on a lot of things, and streamlining processes.
Yeah, 100%. What's your take on all of this, Olivia?
I mean, I'm in the same boat as both of you. I think that it's really important to leverage it as a tool, and if you aren't, you're missing the boat. You're going to be left behind. So, like, if you haven't integrated AI into your workflow, whether that's things that you do behind the scenes, whether it's helping to expedite different marketing channels, which we'll talk about in a minute, I think you're missing an opportunity, and your competitors are doing it. So you're getting, you're putting yourself behind the curve, essentially. So I know we work with a lot of clients who come in and to the point that was made, they know that they need to leverage it. They're not sure how to do it or what parts of their business it makes the most sense for. And then we come in and help them do that. And I think that's the sweet spot, is like working with people who have done it themselves, who have pattern recognition, who understand what needs to be executed with that AI tool, and then let them build it for you. So you're not coming in and just making assumptions and kind of building it with a generic tool or approach, which is what we often see. Like the amount of emails I get that are like, I have some questions based on the scope that you sent me. And I literally got one in the last couple of months that had 400 questions. I responded to the client and I said, I'm not sure if you read this when you copied it from ChatGPT, but there are 400 questions here. So I would be happy to hop on a call with you, but I'm not answering these questions.
Another advice I would say, yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, Olivia, you have to get on, if you don't have it implemented, helping you with processes and streamlining things. And so your one person can do 10 things in quarter of the time. then yeah, your competitors are doing it. So they're going to keep moving forward where you could get stuck. But the biggest issue that I'm finding with a lot of clients and people coming to me and asking for my advice is, the AI strategy. You can't just go in and go, oh, well, that sounds like it'll help me in this area and that'll help me in that area. You really need to look at what areas can benefit most. And I would start, like, take baby steps. Don't just go in and get 4 different AIs and go, I'm going to put it in this area and that area. And then you're ended up firing all the AIs, or there's a big mess made and things are not going right. And then you hate AI and you'll never go back again. Whoa, so sorry. I have a cat. For everybody out there, I'm babysitting a cat and it's jumping around, trying to jump on the computer. Anyway, so yeah, you need a strategy. You need to look at your business, and whether you're in marketing or you're in-house marketing or a marketing agency, you need to look at the business, understand where the AI can benefit, and take baby steps. Don't just go out and then demo always, and take advantage of free trials, because you want to make sure it's right before you implement it, because that's a lot. It gets really into your business and it's a lot to do and to put up. There's a lot of your security has to be involved and all that. So you just want to make sure you're looking at the right stuff.
Yes. The last thing I would add on that, and I just had a conversation with a client on this, so this is from her, not me, but we were talking about leveraging different AI tools in her business, and I gave her some to check out and said, okay, come to our next meeting and we'll kind of let me know what your thoughts are. And she chose, after her research, she chose a tool that was most aligned with her from a values perspective, from a business values perspective. So look at the companies that you're supporting and definitely check your settings to make sure you know information you're putting out there. But I thought that was really insightful as well. So if you're someone that's been hesitant to leverage AI in your business from a values perspective, the first thing is, if you're using you have an iPhone, you're already using it. If you're using Google, you're already using it. So you can't pick and choose this counts and this doesn't. But you can look at tools that have alignment with what your business values are, and make decisions around who you support with your money. So I think that was an important thing that a client recently brought up to me.
Great point. I mean, really great point. And also, who's AI? Who's making it? Who
exactly?
Who's the company? Where is it from?
Exactly.
Yeah, who owns it? There's you never know.
Yeah, 100%. Nina says, my eyebrows perked up at security. 100% agree. She does data governance. Nina, tell us more. What excites you?
Yeah, I did a keynote for this Society of Actuaries, and I started the lecture with I had some surveys, that people could code in, and how many of you would use AI in your daily activities for work? And it was near zero. And and at the end I asked again, and it was up to 40%. Very, very unsure on AI. They don't trust it for sure.
Wow. Well, on that, that's a great place to wrap us up. Would there be maybe just one piece of actionable advice you might share, Andrea, before we transition on?
Yeah, don't be scared of AI. It should be a tool that you use, and it's as good as the person using it. You can actually, once you have an AI in your system, kind of close the doors so it only can be accessed by you in your system. So, I mean, there's ways of securing it so that it becomes your AI and not on a SaaS or a platform that you have to share all your data with. It can be within your system.
Yes, 100%. Nina's asking, how are they training on your data too? Also, adoption is a huge issue, as well as shadow AI. Any last comments on that before I move on?
Yeah, the adoption, you have to get buy-in. So that's why I would put a task force together in your company. That's always a good idea, to get someone from each department to have a task force to to understand how to roll it out and where to roll it out, and have these conversations bluntly with everybody, answer their questions, have them try it out before it becomes a rule to use. Don't just throw it on them.
That's great advice. Well, thank you for that. And let's transition now as we're getting close to the end. We got to get into topic 4. We're going to go a little over tonight. Hope that's okay. Multi-channel marketing strategy. Olivia, could you kick us off?
Yeah, and I can be fairly quick with this. I feel like our prior topics actually led us into this really well. The reason that I included this in the talk tonight is I have so many clients that have come to me recently, and when we look at their marketing strategy and look at all the different places, channels, platforms that they're on, channels that they're testing, so many of them are like, oh, well, I don't do that because it didn't work. And oftentimes the next question is, okay, well, how long did you use it? What did you try? Tell me more about this. And I'm finding a lot lately that many people are kind of Xing channels after they test it for a handful of weeks, or they hire an agency for 3 months to work on XYZ social channel, or an email campaign, and they didn't see the results, and so they are done and they don't want to look at it again. And then they're coming to someone like myself or my team and saying, I want to scale, but I don't really have any channels because email doesn't work for this reason, and this social channel doesn't work for this reason. So I really bring it up to just share with folks that give yourself a longer window, and also similar to the AI conversation of like the person who's asking the questions and doing the prompts matters. The person who's executing the work on that channel matters. So if you've been using a team that that you're kind of cross training, and you have someone who this is their job, but they in their spare time they're doing your social media, that's probably why it's not working. And so if you want to really leverage a channel appropriately, you need to look at the investment, both the time and the financial investment that you need to put into that channel. And if you're not able to do that across many channels at once, pick 1 or 2. If there are channels that more align with your company's values, or, for example, Jessie's company, like on LinkedIn, if you're looking at LinkedIn and you've just been kind of posting regular posts and you haven't looked at leveraging video or live streaming or any of these other strategies, find someone who can help you do that. And that's really where you're going to be able to move the needle. And then when you start doing this, you want to track your CAC to LTV and all of your conversion rates. And then you also want to look at how and where can you leverage AI to automate any of this? Because there may be things that you're doing that a human has been doing historically, and you can get a tool to do it 100 times faster. And all of a sudden, your CAC to LTV is looking very different, because instead of paying an admin assistant to do cold outreach by the hour, you're leveraging an AI tool that's doing it for a $49 a month subscription. So I encourage everyone to just do a little bit of an assessment of the channels that they're currently using, any channels you've written off, and ask questions to yourself about understand why you aren't using that channel, and to see if there's a way to kind of test it and introduce it again in an environment where you're coming at it by having an expert execute, and then also leveraging the tools that you have in your toolbox.
Yes. Get an expert and leverage the tools that you have in the toolbox. I love that. And thank you for referencing Reviting and using it as an example. Love that.
Of course.
Andrew, what's your take on this?
I agree. I would just add that your customer base is your gold mine. I'm always a proponent, if you're a company, if it makes sense, referrals, loyalty programs are great ways to grow organically, very, very, very low CAC. I would leverage any kind of customer base that you have, especially if it's a consumer, if you're B2C. But if you're B2B, it should be a part of your repertoire to ask for those referrals, and even have a partner referral program going on that you can help grow that customer base even more. And it just naturally. Yeah.
The one thing that you sparked, Andrea, that I'll also add back on top is also looking at lost leads. And this isn't applicable for every business, obviously, but look at people that, the timing wasn't right, or they were waiting on a budget thing, and circle back with those people as well, like fish from the pond that you're already in, before you venture out, or do both. But I think that would be the one thing I would add to that we've found a lot of success in with our clients.
100%.
I love that. And I love that you brought CAC back up, because earlier when we were talking about CAC, we were only talking about what is your highest CAC. We didn't really talk about what is your lowest CAC. Your
Totally.
lowest CAC is typically always your customer base. We forget our lowest hanging fruit is our existing customer base, keeping them happy, because customer acquisition cost is so high. So you've already got them as a customer. So keep them happy and upgrade them. So customer success becomes really important in this role. I think Reviting, us internally, we're really starting to learn that in 2026. We're trying to scale. So in January and February, we got really serious about our operations. But yeah, I digress. I think it's really important that you are keeping your existing customers happy if you want to keep high or low CAC and a high LTV.
100%.
I'm glad it all comes full circle like that. Anything more either of you would add on this topic before we go into the guru of the week? No? Okay, well, let's do it. Let's play that video, Layla. The guru of the week. Ooh, the guru of the week. Ooh. Oh my gosh, I used to sing that every week. Yes. Who is your guru of the week?
I can go first. Thomas Ryan Oakes, I somehow got on his email list, and he is wonderful at sending out good, quick tips, showing a problem, how it was solved, best practices. I really love those emails. I save them all.
And mine is Kelsey. I'm not going to attempt to try to do her last name because I may butcher it. But Kelsey's actually putting on a handful of events for female founders and entrepreneurs. I'm going to one in Charlotte, North Carolina. They're called City Girls. And I've been following her for a while, and she really blends motherhood and entrepreneurship, which I find, with 2 kids of my own, it's just a topic that a lot of people talk about, but somehow you still feel kind of alone in it. And so I always like to recommend folks that are bringing that kind of like reality in real life and balancing that or not balancing it with the work that we do. So definitely give her a follow and check out her event.
Yes, definitely not balancing that. And I totally agree. I have 2 kids. I'm a mother myself. So there is a lot happening. I mean, I missed a live stream yesterday. We're supposed to produce me in the background because, duty calls, kids are happening. And like, you just think your lizard brain just kicks in. You're a mom. I digress. But yes, thank you for sharing both of them. I tagged them in the comments. Hopefully everyone listening will tag them in the comments. Go follow them. Diversify your feed and learn about some new gurus. And before we wrap up, next week we have another great episode. So we've got Iran Mizrahani coming on. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but he is a dynamic individual, CEO, Source 86. Go search him on LinkedIn. You're going to be blown away by his history. And then Henry Young, the founder and CEO of A Very Research. So going to be another good conversation. But before we go, we want to know a little bit more about both of you, who it is you serve, how you serve them, and if they can be served by you, how do they reach you? Olivia, could you let us know?
Yeah, you bet. So my company is HumanFirst Partners. My business partner, McKenna, and I serve business founders and entrepreneurs who are looking to scale their business, but for whatever reason have hit a ceiling, whether that's bandwidth, budget, you name it. And we're really unique in that we come in not just as traditional business advisors or strategists, but we also help implement. And we do all of this with a profit share model. So we don't make money unless we grow your profit. And so it really gives us skin in the game. And honestly, it's been the most fulfilling work that I've done in my entire career. So we work with folks across all industries, lots of various business sizes, but really the people that are looking to scale and haven't been able to do it. And if you're interested in working with us or learning more, you can follow me on LinkedIn, which I put in the chat. You can also find us online at wearehumanfirst.co. And then I can tell you more about what we're doing.
Awesome. Love that. And I see that Marissa just tuned in. Hey, Marissa. That's what MomLink does. She has a MomLink group chat if there's any other moms who want another entrepreneurial chat. Marissa, share some more about it in the chat while we hear from Andrea. Andrea, could you tell us who it is you serve, how you serve them, and if they could be served by you, how do they reach you?
Yeah, no problem. Yes, I work with companies of various sizes. Small to mid-level seems to be the sweet spot, but not just companies that are looking to scale, but companies that are needing maybe a change. They would like to try to get to that next level, or go to that next phase of the business, and they're struggling on how to figure that out and navigate that. And that's where I come in, and I help them navigate that. And it's not just marketing. I do full business strategy, AI strategy. And it's all customized to the unique brand, to the unique company, to what their needs are and what your goals are. And you can find me at frequency110.com, frequency110.com. I have a link there that you can just schedule a little time to chat with me. I'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for coming on. This was an awesome episode. And we only went 6 minutes over, but we appreciate everyone tuning in. If you're still here, let us know by saying toodaloo or goodbye or happy Wednesday. But with that, we'll wrap up, and I'll see Olivia and Andrea backstage. Bye, everyone. Bye.